You know, it's been said if you want to make a Christian feel guilty, ask him how his prayer life is going. In this video, you'll find out why so many of us struggle to pray, and I'll give you 4 practices that can help you become more faithful and consistent in your prayer life. Hey, it's Andrew with Into the Harvest, and this channel is dedicated to helping you be a disciple and make disciples in the modern world. So if that's something you're interested in, make sure to subscribe and click the notification bell, because every week we're creating videos to help you live and share your faith. Most of us want to be more faithful in our prayer life. We want to pray more consistently, more sincerely, and we want to see God move in answer to our prayers. So what's stopping us? Why do so many of us struggle in our prayer lives? Well, prayer is one of the most spiritual activities we can engage in, and that's part of what makes it so difficult. The Bible tells us that the desires of the flesh are against the spirit, and the desires of the spirit are against the flesh, that flesh and spirit are set against each other, and this keeps us from doing the things we want to do. We want to pray, but we're made of flesh and blood, and that by itself makes prayer hard. Now, this struggle to pray is not a modern one. On the night of his betrayal and arrest, Jesus asked his closest disciples to spend time praying with him. But instead of doing that, they fell asleep. Remember what Jesus told his disciples? Watch and pray that you may not enter into temptation. The spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak. What about you? On a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being an absolute prayer warrior, how's your prayer life going right now? Let us know in the comments. E.M. Bounds was a preacher and chaplain during the American Civil War, but he's most famous for writing a short booklet called Power Through Prayer. If you've never read it, you ought to check it out. It's loaded with wisdom, and here's one insight he gives us. Spiritual work is taxing work, and men are loath to do it. Praying, true praying, costs an outlay of serious attention and of time, which flesh and blood do not relish. True prayer is costly, and there's a part of us that will always seek to avoid paying that cost. But just knowing that prayer is difficult is an advantage. It makes us realize that being faithful in prayer is not something we can accomplish if we take a casual approach. So with that in mind, here are 4 practices that will help you build a better prayer life. First, be deliberate. Think of prayer as a foreign language, and learning to pray like learning to speak a language that's not your native tongue. It's awkward at first, and it takes consistent effort. When the disciples of Jesus asked him to teach them how to pray, he didn't tell them to do what comes naturally or to follow the Spirit. He gave them very concrete instructions on where and how to pray. He even gave them words to pray to get them started. Don't expect prayer to come naturally. Decide that you're going to learn how to pray, and then be patient with yourself as you begin to practice it. Second, use an outline. Take an index card and write out what you want to pray about. Now, we have an article on our blog about how to make a prayer card, and if you want more details, check out the description of this video for the link. But for now, keep in mind that your prayer card should contain 3 lists. A few things you're thankful for, a few things you want to ask God to accomplish, and a few people you want to pray for. Keep your list short and sweet to get started. You can always pray for things that come to mind, but don't have more than 10 to 12 items on your prayer card when you're first getting started. And use a physical card like this one, not a note-taking app on your phone. In fact, don't have your phone on you when you're praying. There's just too many distractions. Third, start with scripture. Before you start to pray through the lists on your card, read or recite a verse of scripture, and then pray about that to God. Now, this can really set the tone for your prayer time and help you focus. So here's an example of a verse you could use. Psalm 24:1. The earth is the Lord's and all it contains, the world and those who dwell in it. Think about that verse first, and then talk to God about it. After you spent a minute or 2 praying through scripture, start praying through the lists on your card. The 4th thing that you can do is to go on a prayer walk. Now, there are 2 great advantages to combining your time of prayer with a short walk. First, an active body leads to a focused mind. You'll be less distracted and more inspired if you go for a short walk outside while you pray. And second, Going for a walk helps set a time limit for your prayer. Want to pray for 10 minutes? Go for a half-mile walk. Easy. To recap, prayer is difficult. It's a discipline, and few of us will grow in it without real effort. But you can grow in your prayer life by following these 4 simple practices. Be deliberate, use an outline, start with scripture, and go on prayer walks. If this video was helpful, click the like button and help us spread the word by sharing it on social media. And we'll see you next week for another Disciple Tips video.